Alright, I just want to give some examples of how I had to do things in post, fix it in post as they say, for some of my shots in the 48 States Trucking video I made. So let's just start off with this one right here, Utah, Monument Valley. You can see these rocky formations. They're basically very essential to the shot, as well as the truck. So all of this has to be, the composition has to be good, and this composition is good. I'm going to go and show you how it really looked. So we're going to solo this. I'm going to delete these keyframes, delete this, and you can see I had to do a mask. We're going to restore this. This is the original 16:9 shot. Oh, sorry about that. Just going to get rid of this. Alright, so this is the original 16:9 shot, and you can see the leg of the Inspire 1 is encroaching on the frame quite a bit because it's flying at about 50 miles an hour trying to keep up. Now, you know, to fix something like this, okay, you could just, you know, crop in a little bit and do things like this, but then you have to mess up your composition. And it's very sensitive. You'd have to almost cut off these ridges here, and I don't like that. So what I did was, first step was, I got my timing right. So I got my timing right on the shot and used my low velocity envelope. I copied the shot to another track, so copied the event, and then I created a mask. So when we look over here, you can see my mask. Let me go and solo the track so you can see the mask. There it is. And as I was panning out on the shot, you can see that I'm revealing the mask. Now on the copy down below, if we can just bring down the opacity of this and show the copy, you're going to see that it's actually shifted a little bit. See how the time is shifted? And then when we solo this, you can see that not only did I shift time, but then I also stopped time, although I still maintained a little bit of a zoom going on even though time is not moving. And the reason why is because I had to still simulate movement, the sort of movement that was going on here as I was zooming in, see, at the very end of the shot. So the final result is these clouds in this corner still move, even though technically that's a frozen frame. They still move and they keep up with the shot, and the drone leg is not visible. So that's just one example of one of the things I had to do to fix the shot in post so that I can still maintain a pretty good framing. Alright, so let's move on over to another shot. Here's the upstate New York shot I recorded for the video. You can see that it starts off with this very interesting sort of parallax maneuver. It looks like a dual operator setup because now the camera is panning down, it's tracking the truck, and then we have a quick little transition, and then we reveal the landscape and the interstate the truck is driving on. And it looks like it was, you know, sort of a pilot and an operator sort of operation, but no, it wasn't. I'm going to show, first I'm going to copy this shot. I'm going to solo this track. Get rid of these velocity envelopes. And then I'm going to show the original track as it was, or the original file. So you can see I have to hide the event pan crop because trying to decode that H.265. I'm using my proxies in the preview window now. So let's take a look. This is more like how the shot really went. It was a simple shot where the drone was tracking the truck and following it. However, you can see that the leg of the Inspire 2 starts to get in the shot here, and it gets very close to the truck, very close. Well, the leg does. I mean, it's not very close to the truck, of course, but it's very close to the framing of the truck. And then at the very, very end, the drone is very dramatically in the shot. So this was easy to fix, of course. You know, when the leg is here, this is kind of basically where something like this is where the shot ended. This was easy to fix because I was using a 2.35 cinematic aspect ratio. So all I do is just match my output aspect ratio and sort of do something like this, and that's easy to fix. However, let me go and delete this shot. You're going to notice that I did a little bit more than that. starting off, you can see that there's an interesting parallax move here, as if the drone is sort of creating a very interesting parallax move with that long focal length. It's sort of turning. Well, it wasn't turning. What was going on was I'm doing a, and I got to bring up the event pan crop window, let it load up. It's a little bit slow. Okay, so the event pan crop is right here at the beginning, and then the event pan crop gets moved over here to sort of track the fact that we're really just making a very simple sideways motion with the drone, but to make the footage a bit more dramatic, I panned the crop right there so that it would look a bit more interesting and have a parallax. It looks a bit more like was shot with like a dual operator setup, where there was a pilot maneuvering the camera and a drone operator, when really it was just, you know, a one-person operation. So then I pan down and reveal the truck, which goes with the music, of course. And then when the drone leg is going to, I mean, it already was, you can see over here how I had to crop it to make sure that the drone leg wouldn't be in the frame. And then finally, I do a quick little cut and I reveal the landscape, and I cut the very end before the drone leg appears. So this is just another example of some of the little tricks you can do in post to not only make the drone footage a bit more dramatic and interesting, but also fixing things that happen in real life, such as drone legs appearing in the shot. Alright, so here's another section of the video. It's the 16-second segment of Tin Sleep Canyon in Wyoming that I filmed in February of 2017 with the Inspire 1 drone and the Zenmuse Z3 optical zoom camera that went from 22 to 77 millimeters. It wasn't the X3, that's the one that came with the Inspire 1. This was the Zenmuse Z3 camera. And so, of course, this segment here, which again was just 16 seconds, it really took me 2 hours to film it in real life. I had to go up and down this mountain, this little curved road. I had to go up and down it 5 times to get the shots I wanted, and the lighting also changed throughout that time. So just color matching in post was already challenging enough to try to make the colors look as consistent as possible. But here I'm just going to cover the first shot, which is the establishing shot, which is extremely important. You can see there's a little bit of a nice pan there. Then I move down and I reveal the road, and then you can see a little bit of a pullback, and that's you could say this is a set, right? That's not really what happened. So first of all, the drone was already a mile away, a little bit over a mile away from me when I shot this. So the Inspire 1 really only had a mile of effective range, so this was already really laggy over here. So I'm going to show you how the shot really looked like. Let me just get rid of this. Let me double the speed of the clip. And now let's see how it really looked when I bring it back to its original native aspect ratio of 16:9. So you can see, okay, that doesn't look too bad. But then I move down and I move over here and I'm trying to get this framed up. This was done before these shots were taken before I had finalized the music for the video. So I didn't really think I'd use this shot. It was just more of I was just recording. And then I was sort of pulling back and trying to really get the opener shot. This was really supposed to be the opener shot right here of this area. But in the end, I liked this, and then I liked this too. So how did I combine this portion, which is really good, and then delete all of this, get rid of all of this, which was really messy, and then show this, the reveal. If we go over here, we will solo this as well as this, and you can see we start off with this right here. This is of course the portion of the video that's this section, and again all of this was only 3 seconds in the video, but this right here is good, no real editing required. But then when we jump over here, you can see I had to manually go in, and video stabilization would not work on this because it was really slow. So not that the video stabilizer was slow, but the segment itself was really slow, so the video stabilizer did not have enough spatial resolution or temporal resolution, I should say. That's what it really was. Basically, it couldn't really estimate, you know, the differences, you know, on such a long video. So I had to go in here and manually, frame by frame, animate the crop to make this road not be so jerky in the final movement. And then you can see there's a bit of a wipe transition, a linear transition. It creates the impression or the illusion that I went like this, nice pan, and then when I'm done panning, I zoomed out, or I dollied the drone out. But again, really, this was covering up. This was actually several seconds ahead in the video, so I cut right here, and then I moved like maybe 15 seconds ahead in the video, in the original source video, and then I panned out. So again, that's an example of what I had to do to get rid of all that crazy jerky motion that I was doing, because the drone was really laggy at that point. The video signal was laggy a mile away. So because I really liked that, I had to do this editing here to create the illusion that this was a nice pan. Then we do a very nice smooth pan down here, which of course manually was fixed frame by frame. And then I did a little transition there to keep up with the consistency, and to prove that, as an example, this was the event pan crop right here, right at the end of this shot, and then you can see the event pan crops over here now. So again, just little tricks to try to fix things that would be considered basically unusable, but with a little bit of creativity, you can fix almost anything in post. You should try to avoid having to do this, but sometimes real life circumstances just make it to where it's the only choice. Okay, so now I'm going to go over the Rhode Island portion of the video. This was one continuous shot. It was the only state in the whole video that got one single shot, and also it was continuous, like I said, and it only lasts for about 12 seconds or so, but the original drone footage was almost 4.5 minutes long. So the first thing was, it was filmed in, of course I chose the Mavic 2 Pro with the 10-bit D-Log M, because it would have the maximum dynamic range as I move around, and you can see the sun is sort of coming in there. And so this is how the shot really went out. Started off right here, and now I knew the music at this point in the video. I knew what I wanted, so I flew like this. And this was all 100% manual flight, no sort of, no flight path or any of that stuff, or, you know, waypoints or any of that. And then, again, nice smooth manual tracking. And then that was it. Well, first step was, Vegas really only allows you to speed something up. You can press the control button, stretch it down to 4 times speed, go to properties, or set it to 4 right here in the properties, and then you can bring an envelope in, velocity, crank it up. But even that was not enough, because the final shot is just, even that was not enough. So when we go back over here to Rhode Island, you can see that step 1 was, I created an image sequence first. I did a little bit of a grade on the shot, and then I created an image sequence, and then I imported the image sequence, and I could speed up the image sequence. Now, the first step was, of course, to get my aspect ratio correct, and then to do my manual, you know, velocity changes to make it go with the music. And there was some more than that going. Then after that, I cropped. I did a lot of cropping here, you can see, to fix things. So I animate the horizon. The horizon here is now straight. Originally it was straight, but here it wasn't that straight. So, and you can see even on the frame by frame basis over here, the way the footage was sped up, you can see that. Watch me go to the next frame. Watch what happens here. See, I had to manually bring the crop down to go in line with the fact that this is sped up like 80 times, or something like, well, 40 times, I think, somewhere around there. So obviously, very small movements you do with the camera is not going to be reflected. It's going to be very jerky. So to make this not so jarring, I had to manually fix that a little bit. Go over here, same thing. And it's also interesting that, you can see that I'm simulating various or different focal lengths, and I'm simulating zooms, when in reality, of course, the Mavic 2 Pro does not zoom. It does not have an optical zoom or anything like that. You can't change the focal length while you're recording. So that's an example of what I did to make this shot, dramatic and everything, and make it work out. So those were just some examples of what I had to do in order to fix various shots in the 48 states trucking video I made. This was not everything that I had to do. There was a lot that I had to do to make the shots look right, but I hope this helps give you a bit more of an insight into the sort of attention to detail one must give to footage in order to make it work better in your videos. So I hope this helps.